Welcome back to this week's edition of Modern Tech and Transformation. I'm Carla Hartman, and with me I have our CEO of Resolve Tech Solutions, Vinod Muthuswamy. He has been a guest before, and I want to thank him for coming back on the show.
Thank you, Carla, for having me.
So AI is still at the forefront of technology in 2024. And Vinod, we're not even halfway through the year, and you have a lot to be proud of.
Yeah, absolutely.
You have been recently recognized as one of the top executives in AI due to your Juno Labs vision.
Mm-hmm.
And Juno Labs itself has been awarded the AI Excellence Award for Hybrid Intelligence Systems. So congratulations.
Thank you very much, Carla. It's super exciting to have been recognized both for the efforts of everyone in the team around Juno Labs, including you, and the vision that we set, almost starting 3 years ago, laying the foundation for Juno Labs, and everything that we did as a collective team over the last year has truly come into fruition. So super excited about that.
And we've talked about Juno Labs in some of the other episodes, but we haven't heard from you directly. So tell us about where your vision came from, and how would you describe Juno Labs to someone in your own words?
So the vision for Juno Labs really started in 2021. That's when we launched our core platform. The idea was we wanted Resolve Tech Solutions to be and the team to be sort of ahead of the curve in terms of how we are going to enable embedding AI/ML into current business processes. And we took it on ourselves to leverage that in our current cloud operations. So within our cloud operations, we built the first framework of CloudSense AI, where we are bringing observability from multiple cloud environments and then simplifying the process of how you would create a massively scalable machine learning pipeline, and then applying anomaly detection on that. So this allowed us to sort of test the waters in terms of how can you truly automate the process of managing SAP workloads and non-SAP workloads in a multi-cloud environment using CloudSense AI. That also built the foundation of what we have now built multiple, platform tenants under Juno Labs, which is Juno Innovate, Model Mesh, and Gen AI, as well as the Cloud Automate, right, which is the cloud builder. So with that process over the past 3 years, we've been continuously looking at how and dealing with the challenges of data itself. And that's going to be sort of the biggest challenge in adoption. I've talked about this several times with you. That's going to be the biggest challenge in adoption. And then how do we simplify that and accelerate that process of looking at data, irrespective of the format of data, whether it's structured data, unstructured data, semi-structured data, and truly applying the context behind that data and the intent of what you're expecting out of AI. We simplify that process, and now what you're seeing as the grandiose vision of Juno Labs is truly to build the next generation AI-based, managed service provider, as some of the leaders in the industry are calling it, right? It's the next wave of service providers that are needed in the industry to enable the adoption of AI/ML in an accelerated fashion across enterprise, both mid and large enterprises, right? So that's kind of where I foresee this going, and I can dive deep into the different platform tenants. You can keep me for a whole day and I'll keep talking about it.
Well, we might have to have you back on subsequent episodes to talk about each tenant. But I used to be a firm believer that if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. But we don't have the option of not being fast too.
Yeah.
And the way to do both, I think, is truly AI.
Sure.
So we have to go fast and go far now.
Go far, yeah, absolutely. So one of the things that I want to touch upon is, with the vision that where we started in almost 3 years ago, the industry also has shifted, with some of the advances in how AI is now being embraced by the broader industry with ChatGPT, with large language models, and how they are being used. I think we're seeing that adoption wave starting to now ramp up. We are still in the very early stages, and I strongly believe that RTS is very well positioned to capitalize and enable customers, to really bring that into their current business processes. And I'll touch upon a specific use case and how we went about, solving that use case, and how we partnered with, some of the platform providers like Google Cloud to truly showcase that Juno Labs and its vision is actually going to, be successful in enabling customers to transform their business processes.
And even during the creation, RTS has been able to enable AI at a major retailer and a major telco provider with their customer churn, and also looking at stock-based ordering and things like that. So prior to partnering with Google, we also did some work on the back end, which is really exciting.
Yes.
So we were well positioned to partner with a mega company like Google to make this come to fruition.
Absolutely. So we've always been in the forefront of enabling our customers to embed technologies that are cutting edge. In this case, several years ago, we had worked on certain projects tied to bringing IoT, computer vision, enabling sort of cashierless, processing of customers in a specific store, so they can walk into a store, they can pick a product and move out of that store. So we worked on all those projects across different industries, and taking all that intelligence also has enabled us to truly develop this vision for Juno Labs, and we are super excited about what the future holds for us. One of the use cases that I'm very excited about talking about is the intelligent field operations solution that we developed, working in conjunction and partnering with Google Cloud, specifically focused on a service provider market, right? And that's where we envision that AI is going to be successful in truly driving adoption, is when you have a very laser-focused use case and you showcase the art of the possible with that use case. And that's really the value of Juno Innovate. So Juno Innovate is an ideation platform that enables customers to come in and take a look at pre-trained and pre-developed use cases that we have solved using publicly available data and demo data, right? So this allows the customers to say, okay, based on this specific use case for my business, I can apply it this way, and here's what the journey may look like. And we'll help them map that journey, right? For some customers, it may be a proof of concept, maybe in a 12-week journey. For some, it may be 18-week journey, depending upon where they are within their enterprise in terms of the maturity of data that's available to enable. With AI, it's important. The biggest aspect here is decisions, and AI can make decisions only if you have the right amount of data. And if you're not using the right amount of data and you're not grounding, and I'm using the term grounding, allowing AI to focus on enterprise specific data, then you're not going to get the right results. That's where I feel like AI can become this. It can get frustrating to customers because they're not going to truly see the value of it, right? So with intelligent field operations, we focus specifically on looking at solving a big problem within the service provider space, where most service providers today have a massive technician force that are trained across solving problems, in terms of understanding the technology that the service provider has deployed. And whenever their customer calls into their support center, the technicians are dispatched to go and solve this problem. So one of the specific use cases that we developed for the service provider industry is around intelligent field operations. And this is truly to drive efficiencies by bringing artificial intelligence and machine learning into their current operations on how they engage field technicians to go and solve a customer's problem, to how can we actually improve the efficiencies of the field tech who's performing the operations on site as well. So when I talk about this, there's so many pieces of technology that we're bringing together, embedding it with sort of AI/ML at the core, and we're also tying it to existing systems. So that's why we were recognized for hybrid intelligent systems, because we're not coming in and forklifting an existing environment and saying, this is the new AI-based environment. We're saying, here is how AI embeds on your existing systems, makes it more intelligent. So this is where our vision comes into transforming an enterprise into an intelligent digital enterprise, right? So we're modernizing and we're adding intelligence to it. So in this use case with field technicians, whenever a customer calls into the support center, You have your customer service agent that answers the first call. They provide some solution, may fix the problem or not. Then they immediately, if they're not able to fix it, they dispatch. Each leg of this journey is measured by certain metrics, such as first call resolution rate. So there's behaviors that you can expect in each a segment of this journey. So the customer service agents are clearly driven by how quickly they resolve an issue. So if they cannot resolve it, they're also driven by how quickly do they escalate it to the next level. So you see that there's a behavioral trend that's going to drive them to move it to dispatch. Every dispatch is expensive for a service provider. Every dispatch of a technician costs them around, on an average, $300 to $350. Every time they redispatch, that's another $300, right? So think of a completely diverse environment of technology that's sitting across millions of customers, and your workforce of, tens to 20,000 technicians may not know everything about that technology framework, right? They walk into an environment completely not knowing what they're going to come across or how to solve it. So what we have done is we mapped out this journey and we developed a solution where at every aspect of the journey, we're embedding AI/ML. We're bringing in the right pieces to make the decisions. And think of AI/ML as, a quick way of enabling, the current, enterprise to make decisions. So you're accelerating processes. So something that took 2 hours now could potentially take 5 minutes, right? That's what we're trying to do. So customer service agent, customer calls into the call center, ticket gets open. Our generative AI agent now takes the ticket data and then generates the solution, because we have trained the generative AI agent to already, understand, and go through all the different, technical documents that are, and the solutions in the knowledge base. And the generative AI agent is only grounded towards that enterprise's data. So it's not going to pull data from Wikipedia. It's not going to pull data from it doesn't know about it. So it's trained to respond, and it's always going to generate, that. And we have ways to control it where it's not giving, completely ambiguous solutions that may not apply or work. So let's assume that solution didn't work, right? So generative AI agent is now making the agent a little more intelligent in terms of, proactively providing them solutions rather than having to go and look through data and doing an index search to get that data, right? So something that they would have taken maybe 20 minutes to do, now it even happens before they even pick the ticket, right?
Yeah.
So they could not resolve it, then that ticket gets automatically now routed to a technician. And the routing is done based on leveraging some underlying technology to make intelligent routing decisions. So we're starting to look at, who is the technician that has, who is closer to this customer's environment and who already has a ticket potentially. So what we've done is we've created a mobile app tied to the system, almost like an Uberistic app, where the technician is presented. If there are 5 technicians in the area, you present it that, hey, here is a priority issue. Do you guys want to accept it? And so we give them a little bit of a choice to then potentially accept the ticket. Once they accept the ticket, it automatically reschedules everyone else's schedule, so they get rerouted to different customers. And now this technician can go on site. And when they get on site, their mobile app is their best friend, because that's a generative AI agent that has been trained with all the different potential possible technology solutions that are out there. So now I don't have to be trained as a technician. I can learn on the job because I have an agent that's helping me walk through it. And so I can potentially look at, building a much more efficient and optimized tech force that can go across any customer and reduce the number of revisits. So if I can gain 10% efficiencies in that revisit, that's hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's exciting, right? Putting that whole piece together and showcasing it to the customer and saying, this is what you want to get to. Now let's come and look at how can we do it in your environment. You'll have disparate systems, legacy system, 20-year-old systems. That's where we come into play, right? We enable not only just modernizing the journey of taking that data out and now adding intelligence to it. And then not only have we've added cool features like, hey, now one of the biggest issue with managing technician force is that they don't have time to enter notes into their tickets. Like, what did they do? Now they don't have to type anything. They finish the ticket. The agent is already saying this was what was done. And if they want to add additional notes, they get into their car, they click on a button, and it's almost like talking to Siri. They tell, hey, here's this ticket, and add the notes, and automatically that notes gets summarized. It's not the exact verbiage of what the technician said. It actually gets summarized through generative AI.
Oh, wonderful.
Right? So this is how we envision AI being embedded, right? We're not talking about AI. We're talking about a business process.
Yes.
We're talking about, I'm giving you places where AI is embedded, but what I'm presenting to customers is this is how I'm going to solve it for you. And as long as, and our vision is to, continuously add more use cases. We're looking at least on a quarterly basis, release, 3 to 4 use cases, depending upon the industry vertical. And we have a backlog and a pipeline of different use cases that we have already thought through. And as we release these use cases into Juno Innovate, and as we get more customers in, we're going to listen in, and we're going to identify, what customers are looking for. And the way Juno Labs is framed today is, we have Juno Innovate as sort of the starting point for customers to come in, sort of ideate and envision what use cases they will implement. Then through that process, we go through the journey of mapping out a POC and quickly transitioning from ideation to a proof of concept, and do a 12-week proof of concept as the first step, with the customer's data. And then after that, running that, and ensuring that that foundational platform that has been now designed is working fine is through our MLOps engine, is Model Mesh, where we're ensuring that, the data is accurate, there's no drift from a data perspective. And then the generative AI component will be embedded, as and when we need, depending upon the use case. Everything cannot be solved through generative AI, right?
Yeah.
There are use cases that can be solved through generative AI. And we'll continue to see that adoption of generative AI could sort of increase over the next 2 to 3 years.
Yeah, generative AI is definitely at the forefront of AI right now.
Correct. Absolutely. Generative AI is at the forefront. When you think about it, we see a lot of startups that have sprung up in terms of building LLMs specifically for specific use cases. Where we see most of the effort coming from Juno Labs is enabling customers to adopt those.
Okay.
Right, which means that we're going to partner with, we already have a partnership with Google Cloud. We're very proud of that partnership, especially, with partnering with Google Cloud, developing the intelligent, field operations. We envision developing more of these use cases in the next 6 to 12 months, and showcasing it for customers, and also, start working with customers in looking at their data, and potentially enabling them to test these use cases within their environment. As we go across industries, we will add partnerships to the list. Right? We're going to, we're talking, potentially looking at Palantir. We're looking at Mistral AI. Anywhere there is unique use cases that we can bring work that is done by not just the large platform providers, but very focused, customized solutions. We will take a look at that, and we'll bring those to our customers. The challenge that customers have is that there's a breadth of solutions now. Like in any technology shift that has occurred over the past 2 decades or 3 decades, when there is sort of a trend that's picking up, you'll have a massive rush of solutions that come out, and which confuses the marketplace, which confuses the enterprise. And for us, it's making sure that we're coming in within our opinion, we're showcasing what has worked for us, and we'll take our customers through that journey.
So if you had one piece of advice to give an executive and an enterprise that's looking into embedding AI, what would that be?
If it's one piece of advice, I would say there is first and foremost is be bold to establish a vision of where you want to be in the next 3 years, right? This goes to both CIOs and CEOs, that today, if you don't think about leveraging AI to differentiate and outrun your competitors are going to do that, right? Yeah. So that's the first step. And the next step is, as you build that vision, identify the most impactful areas of your business where you can differentiate, right? AI could be embedded in every aspect of a business. AI could be embedded in sales. AI could be embedded in product engineering. It could be embedded in operations. But identify which are the core areas that are going to, be the areas of priority. Not necessarily that the areas of priority are the easiest to solve, right?
Yeah.
So there's a balance between the two of based on the areas of priority identified. What is the likelihood of potentially being able to and the long term run of getting it solved, and then classify it into small wins and large wins. Right, small wins are important because it then gives the team an understanding of how this could be done. You take baby steps before you take the giant leap, right? And then once you have accomplished those small wins, it establishes a pathway for the larger problems to be solved. Because some of the problems may require potentially changing the way you're doing business, because today you may not be collecting data from certain aspects of the business. So now you have to go and embed technology to collect that data, right? So I'll give you an example, right? So for example, a real estate management company wants to enable sort of this dynamic predictive environment conditions for their tenants based on who the tenant is, what the profile of the tenant is. So they're trying to continue to drive more value. Like for example, today in this building, it's 84 degrees outside, but I wear a jacket in my office because it's extremely cold.
Yeah.
Right. So the environment is really not conducive for me, but someone else in the 10th floor, is fine with it. Right. So how can you really adapt the environment and predict that, this person is without asking me that data?
Yeah.
Right. So it should go back to say like, okay, in my office, what do I set the temperature all the time, right? So now I'll be setting that temperature because when the temperature is 70 degrees out, I'm probably setting it to like, 72 inside. When the temperature is 83, I'm still setting it to a certain. So now if you're not collecting that data, right, you cannot really build a predictive model to embed AI to make decisions, right? So then it goes back to, okay, how am I going to collect data? And some of these buildings are really old. How are you going to collect data from and attach, information and potentially control these systems? So now what happens is you have to spend another 12 months, implementing solutions to first get the data out. So that's why that would be a long win, right? It's where you are having to put the sort of the foundational, infrastructure to collect data. So don't bet on those projects as your first year projects to see success, because you won't see success and you'll think that, okay, this is just not going to work.
Yeah.
Right. Instead of that, look at where data is available. And obviously that data will not be ready. You can get the data ready, depending on the volume of the data and what it is, and then apply different models depending upon what the solution, whether it's using LLMs, whether it's just using predictive anomaly detection, whatever that is, you could apply those and then accelerate the decision making process, right? That's how I would recommend. I know that a lot of CIOs and CEOs have already started setting out 5-year visions, but the visions are too broad.
Yeah.
They don't really capture what needs to be done, right? And then now it's left up to the next level of leadership to figure out, where do we do but it's important that at every level, you have a vision of how this is going to get done, define and prioritize the small wins first, get motivated by it, and then go tackle the bigger problems.
Well, that's great advice. Yeah. And congratulations on the awards.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for being with us today.
Thank you.
Thank you to our listeners and viewers for tuning in. We'll see you next week.